This is your official It Girl rebrand for 2026. This is the only and ultimate rebrand for the women going into the new year and stepping up to the plate, showing up fully, and feeling absolutely unstoppable. We are doing a full revamp of your life, your personal brand, your social media, your content, your business, your habits, your money and self-concept, all of the above. Now, I did want to mention that you do get the opportunity to actually download your It Girl Rebrand Guide for free. So I will leave the link for that in the description. All you have to do is tap the link and you will get it right away, along with some extra section that I added just for you. So kind of take this as my gift from me to you. And the main theme for 2026, go big or go fucking home. Welcome. It is me, your host, Malika. I am so excited because we are already heading into the new year. How crazy is this? This is also one of my favorite time of the year because of how much I get to plan. It's such an exciting time to rebrand yourself for this upcoming year to feel like none of the other that you've ever had before. Let's get the planning together. So listen, I don't know if you want to go grab your notebook or whatnot, okay, but definitely it would be great if you would have a pen. Let's not waste any time, okay? So you have your notebook and your pen. I got my nice little computer with my pen here. Don't worry, I am coming to you organized so that you can absolutely crush your stuff. Your first step into planning has to be revisiting your previous vision board or your goals of 2025. Now, I absolutely love doing this and I would never recommend skipping this step because although yes, okay, we are planning for the new upcoming year, when you do get to go back into what you did accomplish, what you were able to do, the things that you put on your vision board and that you were like, holy shit, like this actually manifested, this actually happened, you stack up even further proof right before you start planning for everything else that is to come. And so you just get to be a lot more in this permission energy where you are permitting yourself to just be more delusional. Okay, this is what we are going for. The It Girls, they are not looking at the circumstances, they are looking at what they want and they are getting delulu. Okay. Personally, some of the stuff that I had put on my vision board was to go to Costa Rica a second time, which I am currently in while you are tuning into this episode. I really loved it the first time around. I also got to go into Punta Cana. One of my goals for this year was to actually travel more, which I did and I'm super happy about. I also had a bunch of pictures on my vision board speaking publicly in front of the crowd and talking about what I absolutely love and do best, which is personal branding, which I got to do, which I didn't even plan for it. It kind of just happened. And this is like, I don't know if it's like my subconscious working its way through or my visualization or whatnot, but this was so amazing to be in that moment and look at my vision board and be like, oh my God, I didn't even plan for this. And yet, oh, look, this happened. These are kind of like just the energy that I love to be in when I am rebranding myself, when I am revamping stuff, because it just allows me to be in this like high energy that I just love. I also had coaching my clients while I was on vacation, which I got to do because I don't know, like you always see this kind of lifestyle of like, ooh, working on vacation or whatever. But for me, I genuinely love doing that. I think that like when you know how to do it well, like it becomes fun. But I know that this is not for everyone. Like not everyone likes doing that. But me, when I do trips, I personally love creating content. I love like being in that energy of like, yes, like I'm on a trip, but I'm also coaching my clients or whatever. So I find it really fun. And so I got to check that off my vision board as well. These are some of the examples off the top of my head, but I love to simply just revisit the year and be like, okay, like what did work? Now, as much as I loved looking at like what I did accomplish and what did happen, I also always recommend looking at what didn't and why, right? Because I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive to look at like the things that didn't work out. These are going to be the things that will help you boost yourself further for the next year to come that you're planning for. Why? Because then you are not having any blind spots, right? Because it's easier to look at like, okay, what do I need to do? What is going to push me further? What are the steps or whatever? But like most of the time, like a lot of people don't look at the other side of the coin, which is just as important, which is what is it that are kind of like your shortcomings? What are the things that like are your blind spots? What are the things that like, why didn't it work out? You use that to your advantage instead of having it pull you down. Now, the second step of this planning is picking your main theme. Okay, so this is going to look super different for every single person. And you just kind of have fun with it. Like just have fun with it. Like this is so fun to plan. Like I had so much fun creating this episode for you guys. This just allows you to narrow down your focus. Okay, so when you are thinking of yourself as the it girl walking into 2026, revamping every single thing, rebranding yourself, rebranding your life, okay? What is like the vibe that you're going for? What is the focus that you have? It makes you more intentional. But for me, my main 2026 theme are going to be these. So bigger capacity, meaning, holding bigger sums of money and clients, expanding the business impact, and showing up fully. Then I put in parentheses, bad bitch CEO energy. Okay, so that is basically my main theme that I am going for. This can be like a vibe, this can be an intention, but these are just essentially your themes that you are basing that rebrand upon. Okay, so this is like your baseline, and you can just have fun with this. Like, what is calling out to you? You get to just make it whatever you want. Now, the third part about this is going to be, what are your it girls habits in 2026? Okay, but we are not going to do it in a very basic way. Okay, we are not doing none of that basic stuff like, I am waking up at this time in the morning. What makes that like rebrand feel so different, where you feel so different, is because you are doing the things that serves you the most, and that is emphasizing that rebrand within yourself or within the facets of your life. Okay, so this is why I always love to look at like what are the habits that serves you the least versus the most. For me, my morning routines is truly like what makes me feel like the most bad bitch CEO energy. It's, doing hot girls walk, doing Pilates, reading my book, going outside and listening to a podcast while I go on my hot girl walk. Like all of these things is really like allows me to be in that energy. And this is something that I really want to keep because I know that it serves me really good and it does match the vibe that I'm going for. But then you also want to look at like, what is it that like doesn't match that like rebrand that you're having? Like, what are we cutting out? Because for me specifically, okay, I always have this extreme need for everything to be beyond perfect. And even though I have worked on my perfectionism, the fact that I hold myself at such high standard, like yes, I deliver really good work, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes it can just delay me more than anything. And sometimes that like kind of annoy me. And I feel like I'm working against myself rather than just with myself. And so for me, like that is not part of my rebrand. More doing than thinking or perfectioning. This requires also like kind of like knowing yourself and knowing your strength and like what works for you and what doesn't. And this is what it kind of gets to be fun, because you are detaching from like these habits that are almost like part of your personality, and you get to like revamp yourself. Like you're like, okay, no, like I'm ditching this stuff. This is no longer me. I'm doing a full rebrand of myself. I'll keep the stuff that does serve you, or even elevate the stuff that still serve you. Get to like better the stuff that already works. So for me, these are, Pilates, hot girl walk, my calendar organization with my theme days, right? This is something that I love to do, which is basically link stuff that I'm changing to certain goals or things that I'm going to be receiving. So kind of like manifesting through just different environments or different things that we're changing. So basically, let's say you say, when I have this morning routine where I'm reading my book every single day, then I am manifesting twice as much more income. And then you just start doing the morning routine, and then you are stepping into that reality. And the next thing you know, it's like pouring in. So just doing like kind of like those fun things. I really love doing that. Number 4 4 is your social media. Okay, let's talk about having an It Girl social media platform. Okay, that this is for your business or as a creator or both. Now, the first thing that I love to look at is just like looking at like, okay, is your visual identity matching your new vibe, your new chapter, your new identity that you are stepping into? Because I feel like sometimes you can kind of like just ride along the wave because you're so busy with like everything else that you're doing that like you don't really have time to stop and be like, let me think about my aesthetic. You're just like, whatever the fuck, like just go. You know what I mean? But this is one of the times of years where like you do get to be like, okay, like I do feel like rebranding my aesthetic. Like I do feel like rebranding like the way that my page look and like how my client is going to feel when they land on my page. Like I want it to look more elevated or more sophisticated or more fun or more classy or more luxurious. When I'm looking at this from a like outside perspective, like does this match kind of like the new clientele that I'm calling in? Is it giving what I need it to be giving, basically? Next up, you're going to look at, am I sick of my bio? Could it be giving something more? Okay, now I think it is safe to say that for me, my bio on Instagram right now, I absolutely love it. But sometimes like you elevate so fast or like your business elevates so fast and it's just like, okay, does it still match like your vision, or does it still match like your mission? Does it still match your why? Does it still match the clientele that you're calling in? Like, or do we need to like kind of like rework it? Like, you know, do we need to be giving it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more? The same goes for your pinned posts, okay? Are they outdated? Be honest, be so for real. Are they outdated? Just, it takes 5 seconds. Pin the one that matters, okay? You are going into this planning It Girl rebrand, okay? You cannot skip this step for your social media, which is your story highlight. Oh my God, I cannot tell you how many times so many people have outdated like story highlights that like it feels like the most random shit ever, and no one wants to go through 50 pages of something into one story highlight and you have like 15. No one is watching that. No one is watching that. Respectfully, I am not bullying you, okay? But we can do better, okay? We can do better. And so look at your highlight story and be like, okay, what do I want to put forward? What is like kind of like not really giving? What is giving outdated? What is giving no one wants to skip through that many like photos, okay? So your story highlight and everything, like, you know, if you didn't attach to any past version of yourself to that, like what would that look like? What would that look like? Give yourself that permission, because that is literally the first impression that everyone has of you. And so who does this match like who you are stepping into, the It Girl that you are rebranding into? Because she needs to be coming out, okay? I don't want to see your old version in that. Number 5 is personal branding. Of course, okay, we need an It Girl rebrand for your personal brand. Let's just be so for real. I want you to look at like, what are you over? What are you over? Like, you know, like for example, so many people that like stick to like this one style of content, and then they come to me and they're like, I am so sick of this style of content. Like I feel like I can't do anything else because I'm in this niche or I'm in this field and I'm so bored. Like I feel like it's so boring. Perfect. Whose rule book are you living by? Hello? It's honestly super important to also look at like, okay, does my content match where my personal brand is heading, right? Like, let's say that you scroll on your page and you're like, is it giving what it needs to be giving right now? Be honest. And most of the time you can tell right away just by, you know, if your content matches the new clientele that you are calling in. Because the thing that you also have to remember, you will not be speaking to your client the same exact way that you've been talking to them for the past year. Following the growth of your clients or the process of your client, or is it only ever talking to your client in the same exact way all of the time, or your audience all of the time, right? Because they get to be immersed in your world, they get to grow with you and everything. And so you will not have the same messaging, the same as you were before. You know what I mean? The biggest thing when it comes to truly rebranding yourself, it's not going to be so much about your, like, how your content looks or whatnot, but it's looking at like, what are you done holding back on? Like, what are you done holding back on? Because I'm sure you have so many things that you're holding back on. You're like, I don't know if I have permission to say that. I don't know if I have permission to show that. What are the elements or the opinions or the content that you would be creating as your new rebranded self? You are the expert. You are the expert. You set the tone, okay? And so what, like, the question becomes more like, does it still feel exciting to create your content, or does it feel like a burden? Okay, if it feels like a burden, then you know it's time to revamp some stuff, you know, and not look at like, what do people expect from me? But it's more like, how can this represent my business more? Or how can this represent me more? Number 5 is going to be your money concept upgrade. Now, this is something that I love absolutely planning for, or anything that has to do with new launches or signing up new clients, or raising your price even for your service or anything like that, right? You also want to look at, you know, what are the sums of money do you feel comfortable holding and worthy of? Start planning for anything that has to do with when your launches are due and how much you think you will be hitting, and then also the goal that you do want to hit that is maybe more than what you are planning for, right? Or how many clients you're signing, or the kind of clientele that you're attracting. All of these things, I want you to plan them ahead, okay? So that you really have a good idea of like what this upcoming year looks like for you. And next up for this, I also want you to look at your rate and like how much you have been charging. And I want you to look at, am I being passive or am I stepping up to the plate? Because especially I'm looking at all my service provider, I see you. I see you. It also ties directly into like, what sum of money do you not only feel comfortable holding, but also worthy of? Like, as a no-brainer. Or people are gonna think that I'm worth it, or people are gonna think that like I'm greedy or I'm asking for too much or whatever. And the answer is more so reflective of you. Do you think that? You know, how are you integrating this new sense of like comfortability with your money, right? So with this new amount of money, like, we don't want it to kind of get stuck in your throat, right? Like, when you're doing this revamp around money, it's like you are holding bigger sum of money. You feel more comfortable. You know that you are worthy of that, like, as a no-brainer, okay? And that doesn't just automatically come into your lap. No, okay? More money means more responsibility, okay? And so what are you doing to integrate that comfortability with your new self-concept around money, okay? So that's affirmation, that it's listing why you are worth that without a doubt, right? Like, this is something that I love to do, which is like, you know, this is my favorite one, like listing why you are worthy of that without a doubt. Without any doubt in your mind, you're like, this is exactly why I am worthy of that. No questions asked. Is it feeling so good when you are spending your money or investing your money? This is also a big one, because how you feel spending or investing your money is exactly how you will feel receiving it. This is honestly a two-way street, right? So how it comes out is exactly how it comes in. Now for me, okay, number one priority with my money is my business. So reinvesting into my business, that it's equipment, that it's tech stuff, learning new stuff, new experience, like anything that has to add on to my business. Number 2 on the list is going to be delegating shit that I don't want to do. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to say more about that. Number 3, Pilates and yoga. Then it's going to be travel and experiences. Now, I know it's shocking. I know it's shocking that I put Pilates and yoga before travel and experiences. I know, but I don't know why. I just feel like this revamp that I'm doing, this like rebrand, for me, it's really calling like this like super like fit like girl that's just always like going to Pilates and loving it and everything. Next, we are going to start planning for your capacity upgrade. Now, this is something that a lot of people overlook. When you think of like go big or go home, being super delusional, being the go-getter, like stepping up to the plate. Like, I don't know about you, but I definitely think of like having a bigger capacity, because yes, it's amazing to have all of your goal, but like it's like kind of like, do you have the capacity for it? You know what I mean? Because this is also why a lot of people meet with like resistance, and then they don't feel like they are their rebranded self, or they're rebranded into their rebranded life. And this is because most of the time when you rebrand, you're kind of met with this unwanted resistance that kind of gets annoying and in the way, and that is because of your capacity. This is what I personally love to journal on when it comes to my capacity and just planning for a capacity upgrade, is how am I honoring my capacity without compromising my success and goals. This is also when you can kind of like prep for the seasons that your demand increases, or that it requires more out of you, right? So if you know that you have any like launch or new programs coming out, new offer, or a higher demand in clientele, or like this season is like more hardworking for you, right? In terms of, I feel like a lot of people know their season that is more demanding for them, but yet there's nothing in place to like help your capacity. It's kind of like going through the motion, you know what I mean? And I just feel like when you're stepping up to the plate, like it comes with being more prepared and making your life easier, not hard. This kind of comes down to, you know, planning your business cycles accordingly. Okay. And I just did an episode on that. So if you haven't watched it, definitely do. I will link it down below for you so you can binge that right after. This rebrand that I'm doing, okay? What are the things that I don't want anymore? And what are the things that I want more of? Now, this seems so simple. Like, this seems like duh, but like you will be surprised how much clarity you get from just writing these down and being like, how do I solve this problem? It's so simple. But sometimes, again, it's kind of like you're going through the motion, and then you're not giving that chance to your business to revamp. Or let's say that you are wanting to reach a different kind of clientele, right? Okay, then your business also needs a revamp, and maybe your service needs a revamp, and maybe your experience needs a revamp, and a rebrand of like, and then you're rebranding it for the clientele that you are calling in, or how much you are stepping up to the plate, or how much your skill or your capacity or your mastery has grown, and you want it to reflect that, because maybe right now it's not really meeting you where you are. Number 8 is your 2026 vision board. Now, I love Pinterest. I do not do those physical vision board. I just feel like it gets kind of hectic and I end up just never really looking at it. And since I am on my phone a lot more, it's just more practical. With everything that we've been over, this is like where you paint the picture visually of, you know, what that rebrand looks like for you. You know, this how you dress, or that it's the habits that you have, or it's the business style, or whatever. Like, you just get to put everything on a nice little board that just make you feel like, yes, like this is exactly what I'm stepping into. If a genie was to come up to you and be like, okay, we're literally going to make happen everything that is on your vision board, I'm going to snap my finger, it's all going to be possible. Yes, you're going to get it. Amazing. Okay. So what are the goals that you are setting into that vision board? Okay. Because this is the space to hold your delulu energy. Okay. We are here for it. You're here for it. I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's get it. This is when you get to tie your manifestations and your goal to that new It Girl rebrand that you are doing. Okay. So what are the goals that you are tying this new rebrand that you are stepping into? You get to take all of your goals that you want and all your manifestation and tie it to that rebrand, so that once you are doing these things to rebrand yourself, rebrand all of these aspects of your life, you are directly tying into your goals and your vision board and the things that you want. And this makes it that much easier to manifest it and get it to come way faster and way more efficiently, because you are making it inevitable, as you are not only revamping every single aspect of your life, but that you are tying all of these things that you're doing to goals that you want and the things that you are calling in. I want you to ask yourself, like, what is the energy or the mind space that it requires for me to be in so that it makes it easy for me to attract it, right? Or for that thing to be attracted to me. Then I like to go into what will make this happen and manifest. And then I just like to write 3 simple steps. And something else that I started adding in was also, what are the circumstances that I am ditching for these things to pour in or for me to achieve these goals, right? Because you will always fill your circumstances. And so what are the circumstances that you are ditching and that you don't want, and replace the circumstances for the ones that you do want and that serves you the most. Finally is stepping into your new It Girl identity. Okay, now obviously every single thing that we've been planning for this whole episode, they all tie inevitably to your identity, that we want it or not. Like all of the things, all the action that we take, the way that we feel, the way that we do our business, run our business, the way that we show up on social media, like our personal brand and everything, like they all inevitably tie into our identity. But specifically for your new It Girl identity, what I love to do is listing who I have outgrown being and then who I am stepping into, right? When I think of like stepping up to the plate more, okay, like how did this girl move? How does she think? Like what are the things that she's doing on the daily? Like what are the action and the result that she's having? Like how is she feeling? How is she feeling when she might not be getting the result that she's getting? Like all of these things are the things that I love to like build and like plan out. One of the most important thing when it comes to stepping into that new identity, okay, is going to be creating the bridge between your old self and your new self that you are rebranding into. Because this is most of the time why people feel so much like unwanted resistance or like imposter syndrome when they outgrow a version of themselves, but they're not yet into the next version of themselves. And most of the time it's because there's not enough clarity going on, and it's kind of like everything is in your head. Make your life easier and create the bridge between who you have outgrown, okay, and then who you're stepping into, and then create the bridge of what it takes to fully cross the bridge into who you are stepping into. This makes it that much easier to realize maybe what's missing or why the dots hasn't fully been connected yet, right? And this is something like most people always look at, okay, who I'm stepping into. This is all great, okay, but how are you creating the bridge? The bridge is the thing that makes you go there faster. The bridge is like the thing that makes you feel like that girl, right? And so how are you creating that bridge? If you're never creating that bridge, of course you're going to feel resistance. Of course you're going to feel like an imposter. So how are you creating the bridge? And feeling the imposter syndrome is always a sign that you are outgrowing a version of yourself. Like this is something that you will experience multiple times in your life, especially as an individual that is oriented on self-development and all of these things. This will make your life easier, and this will make your rebrand absolutely complete, because you will get to step into the plate and you will get to feel so unstoppable. With all that said, that is basically how It Girls are planning their rebrand for 2026. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing holiday, that you are spending it alone, that you're spending it with your family, that you are, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're spending it with your dog, whatever. I hope that you are having an amazing, amazing time. And I wish you a happy holiday, a happy new year too. And as always, I'll meet you here next week. And if you love this episode, definitely send it to someone, share it to a friend, or share it on your story and tag me. I'm at Malika Birabi. And as always, stay amazing. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.